Hey there, I'm going to show you a couple of different tools that are going to help you with your fall cleanup this season. We've got a great brand of tools. They're Corona brand. Not the best name for this time. However, Corona tools have been around for a long time, and they are sort of one of the gold standards of tools. So here we have a lawn rake. We have a wonderful perennial bed rake to help you get in between your perennials and shrubs. We have the heavy duty fixed tine rake. We've got this cultivator. It's a 3-tong cultivator here. We've got the bowhead rake or flathead rake. We've got this great pitchfork, fantastic for sort of loosening up the soil in your garden beds or when you need to turn over your compost. Great thing to have. Here's another useful tool and a real back saver. It's a stirrup hoe and it cuts the weeds in your garden. It's a really great back saver. These hoes also work in that same way, and they've got sharpened edges and little pokey sides that you can get at all of those weeds. So come and join me in the garden, and I'm going to show you how some of these weeding tools and other tools are going to be used. With all the leaves falling coming up in the next couple of weeks, these guys are going to be your friends. I'm going to show you how to use these and the difference between the different varieties of rakes. Now this may look like a child's toy, but this is one of the most useful rakes, especially if you have a lot of shrubs or if you have a perennial garden. It's smaller width, gets right in between the plant, and you can get to those little bits of leaves or cuttings that you've dropped without wrecking your plant. This is the bowhead rake or flathead rake. It's a really sturdy, heavy-duty rake. If you're going to be getting in loads of mulch or soil and you need to fine grade, this is your friend. You can see, you can sort of round the bed. If you want to do some finishing work, I actually flip it over and use the straight part, and then I can flatten out and do the finishing work on here. So an awesome tool to have in your repertoire. These guys are your leaf rakes. You're going to be using them a lot this season if you have a yard. This is a more flexible tined rake. I use this rake when I'm raking leaves in my grass. It's great for lighter leaves, drier leaves, and if you have lawn that you're worried about wrecking or newly seeded grass. This is a more heavy duty rake. It's a fixed rake. It's slightly shorter. The tines are slightly wider and closer together. So if you have big leaf maples or a lot of heavy wet leaves, this is going to be your baby. So you can see it really gets in there. And then you can use this to rake your pile, whereas this one, it's a little bit lighter. If these leaves are fairly light, so if you have a wider space to cover and it's still nice and dry, you can use this and you're not going to get furrows in your lawn or clumps of lawn out. This is a real back saver when you're weeding. If you're weeding some smaller weed seedlings or some really shallow rooted weeds like snapweed, you just use it as a scuffling motion, and you can see that basically you're cutting or breaking up the seedlings. So this is a pretty handy tool if you have some stuff that has seeded itself or shallow rooted weeds. This is another useful little tool. This is the diamond hoe, and you can see that it's sharpened on the edges. So it cuts on the push, cuts on the pull, and if you have bricks or stonework and you've got grass growing in between, it's really easy to drag it along and clean in between the bricks with these edges. If you want to cut some weeds, so again, you're not pulling out the roots, but you're just cutting. This is another useful cultivator. It's a 3-prong cultivator for getting in some sections of your garden. Keeping in mind, we don't want to cultivate the whole garden. There are a lot of pollinators that are soil dwellers, but if you have some areas around some choice perennials that you want to keep clean and cultivated, you can use this, and it gets the soil, it loosens up, especially if you have some soil that is a little bit more like cement, like I have in some parts of my garden. It'll loosen up the soil. And that's your 3-prong cultivator. Thank you.